intermediate. Okay, so intermediate is actually less than 1%. Then if intermediate is better, so I will extrapolate, right? So it's more like have so let me ask you another question. How many of you believe that you sure? So I'm six on hands, but really looks up. Also say you really don't trust them. Some people on the average, I've seen close to 90% of people don't trust them. That is an interesting point. The last speaker spoke about how pervasive AI is in our industry today. So it's something that we use on a daily basis, even though we might not know that we're using it. It's become pervasive in our so it has become pervasive. So we are seeing it applied everywhere we interact with it. And I was very intentional when I asked questions. How many of you trust them? So so I was kind of illustrating how you were using it to I can ask kind of thinking about AI info today. Is there anyone that wants to share how they're using AI? Is there anyone here using I'm seeing hands raised. So how many of us are actually using these tools? Is there any person that has phone camera and you're using your facial recognition to log into your phone? We use social media. We use social media. Many of you use social media to get information. And you're getting recommendations for different things. So on a day-to-day basis, we're actually interacting with them. Well, I asked the question of you trust them. I see 90% of people say they don't trust them. It's normal. And it's normal. So let me go to the next slide. This is one of the research that was done by reputable organizations, and they're showing 73 of people, right? 73% of people feel concerned about the potential risk of AI. And when you feel so concerned about the risk of something, you really don't trust, right? So we're seeing, even though we're interacting with AI on a day-to-day basis, we're seeing a lot of people still don't trust AI. Right? However, the fact that you are constantly using AI to do your day-to-day work means that you actually believe that the tool you're using, which is the AI, was developed by a reputable company, and so you can believe and trust it. And when you're using your phone, it will only recognize your face and open to you and not to another person. So there is now this tendency that you are putting a lot of trust on the company that is delivering this solution, believing that they're doing it respectfully. I will be speaking here in quote, we are AI beginners, but you hear you know what we call bias, right? I am biased right now because I'm working for my business. So the whole lot of what I will be saying will be tilted towards my business. So me evangelizing my business, in quote. But I'm also speaking here as one of you. So while I will be saying a lot about Microsoft, I'm actually going to be saying things that are very generic. That I show you, and I can use to develop my business and contribute to the world. But these statistics, right, speaks to what is constantly driving what we use AI to do, how we interact with AI. And from the Microsoft standpoint, there is this commitment to build systems that are safe, secure, and trustworthy. And there's this catchy word by design, right? which means that it shouldn't be an afterthought. It should be something that we'll consider from the onset. So let me walk you through the history then. AI is a very complex field. And so there's no know-it-all entity in the world today, right? And I want you to understand that nobody knows it all, and we're all learning in this process. The journey for Microsoft for responsible AI started in 2016. I want to speak to you what we're looking at by responsible AI, but I don't want to tell you, ground you, and where that's the journey. And a couple of things have been established all through 2016 to where we currently stand in 2024. One of the interesting things about Microsoft brought out was what we call AI ethics and effects on both engineering and research. And this is like a group of folks, multidisciplinary folks, who are advising on how we develop AI. Right? And this, a couple of things in the way Microsoft needs to build AI. The fact that it is a tool that is very powerful. And so it needs to be responsible because to be a tool for good will also be a tool for destruction. And so there should be this multidisciplinary team that will be responsible for creating the solution. All solutions we're building today are not the same. That you can start something, which is called a transparency note, to show how every tool that you're using, the AI solutions that we have out there, how they are being. So for folks who are online or folks who have their laptops up, you can type on the responsibility note from Microsoft, and you're going to see the full spectrum of how Microsoft is building this solution. One thing I would have loved to show, I don't know how long this will take. So some of the work that was done by DSN, I don't know if you guys attended one of the events that happened during the COVID period, where someone in Microsoft spoke about responsible payment. Okay, but if you didn't attend, the solution that we're building today, we have a whole lot of things that we do that has to do with responsible AI. I will speak primarily of how you should be thinking about responsible AI, because I've got the speaker. Okay, so let me not be fine. Let me carefully go through this process and then when it's talk, I'll continue.
Which mic?
So there are these different standards that Microsoft has revealed on how you should go about building responsibly, what AI responsibly. I will show you the full details of how you should go about that. So
take time for them to fix it.
Many categories of that tool did receive a lot of adoption. The reason being, it was more like very high level. Folks didn't know how to implement it.
Wait,
So
the second one, the sound is not up yet.
We also have what we call the responsible AI. So the responsible AI dashboard is also a tool that was released to allow those who are building machine learning today to look at the responsibility of the solutions that they're building using the tool. The responsibility AI dashboard is also out there. I'll also show you the logos. What we have right now is a whole lot that has to do with generative AI. And I know a lot of you have already commented that you are using generative AI. And generative AI is a new form of AI that comes up with its own unique risks. We'll go through it, what are the risks, and how you can also circumvent some of this. Microsoft also has, as a slide will come up, which is the last part, a lot of tools that have been released for the responsible AI task. One of the last ones, right? The responsible AI transparency report. Tools that you can use and share, monitoring the different releases that you have. You go through each and every one of them. But at the end of the day, my objective is to ensure that when you're thinking about AI, you're also thinking about the responsibility part of it. You know the tools that are available for you, so go ahead and develop AI responsibly. And you know how to apply those tools. So there will be a form of demo, demonstrating some of these solutions as we move on. Where are the responsible AI principles? How many of you here have seen this slide? Yes, it's been out there on the internet for a long time, but let me just show off how many people have seen this. Okay, nobody has seen. Okay. Please, I will have to talk about this. Very few people. Good. So and this was probably the very first release that is when we release AI, through the learning that Microsoft has made over the years in working in AI solutions, Microsoft shared this with Microsoft AI principle. And it's very good. Hold on, I also adopted this. And this is based on 6 pillars. One of it means here, and we are all English here. You understand what fairness means from a semantic standpoint, right? So, in AI, whatever tool you're building, you have to ensure that it's fair. So it's no more about the accuracy. So some of you have developed some tools that are using for learning, right? To predict who will default on the loan and who will not default on the loan. If you're going to be considering fairness, or if you're going to be deploying this solution, you're not going to be saying, what is the accuracy of this model, right? If you're using your confusion model, for those that build AI solutions, you know your confusion models, when you're saying false positive, true positive, and you're comparing a couple of things to know whether this is accurate or you can reconnect those who are defaulting your limits. It's good to have accurate results, but what about the responsibility part of it? If you're building a solution and unintentionally, or most of the time without intention, you have a tool that is predicting that most ladies will default on loan from guys, right? And you being fair to the female student. And that was 2 girls. I'm always very passionate about talking about ladies. But the truth is, you, from a business standpoint, might be very much concerned about the accuracy of the model. I'm not concerned about how fair the model is, considering sensitive things like gender, like the rates, and the rest, which we actually come from the data that we use in training, right? And not because biologically, these are supposed to fall. So, but how do you even consider this? How do you even measure this? So, one thing that Microsoft shows is more around the fairness, being able to measure how fair the measure is. The other one is reliability and safety. Okay. I've not seen any self-driving car in Nigeria, but I saw one on the internet. Just imagine a scenario where you are developing one in the school. And people's life going to depend on it because it's going to have everyone in. How reliable is the solution? How safe is it? When it is at the crossroads, what decision is it going to do? So considering all this also in building your tool, your AI solution in a experiment. So whenever you're building solution, how safe is it? How reliable is it? What things are you bringing into the solution so that when it becomes unreliable, someone can take corrective action? Right. The other part is privacy and security. We all know here that everything about AI is data. Data comes from tools, from sensors, from human beings, right? So it's possible that you are also using my data to train a model, right? And it's supposed to generalize an activity. That data that you're using to train is my data. Are you infringing on my privacy, right? So, or it also impacts my security because you're using something that has to do with it. So, whatever solution you're building, how safe, how secure is it from a data standpoint? This is also something that you have to consider when you're building a solution. Inclusiveness. So imagine a scenario that I create a solution. This AI solution is supposed to explain or summarize the content that you're producing in this bootcamp. And it's only test driven. Let's imagine that's the person. That means for someone that is blind, most likely not be able to read that too, right? Because it's test driven. So when I'm building solutions, how inclusive am I being to everyone who is intended to use the tool? So I build the tool and I'm empowering people that can see, and I'm not empowering people that cannot see. Then it means I'm not being inclusive in my development, right? Which go to form how do I create this team that will build this? So AI solution is not one that is purely technical driven, but also that social part of it. To say, if somebody is going to be part of the development team, I should look at different disciplines. It's not just technical skills. I need to get psychologists. I think they mentioned something about psychologists and Sebastian. I should get people that understand human behavior. I should go from that team. Right? They were really there. Then transparency. Transparency speaks to the fact that we're making decisions based on AI. You should know why the AI is saying what it's saying. So imagine a scenario where I need to give a loan for people to the loan part. And it's saying, do not give a loan. So I said it was unfair to ladies. One thing as a loan officer that I should know is we're going to say, why did you not give me a loan? And imagine if my response is because AI said I should not give you a loan. It doesn't make sense from a business standpoint. So we should be building AI solutions that are transparent, that we can explain why you're saying you should not give you a loan. So based on the response, if you say, I'm not giving you a loan because you're related, you're female, and your credit score is low, something like that. But that response, because you're a female, already tells you that there's something wrong with this model, right? Because it's not being fair. It's using something that is pretty sensitive to make decisions. And this will help people have this very well at this period. So transparency is very key. Accountability. And for any time here, because the whole of what we'll be talking about is this. Accountability. Should we have a wall that is completely wrong by you? That is making all the decisions by you? The answer is no. Human beings should still be in control. So whatever solution you're building, you as a human being, whatever decision that solution is. So I'm not going to pick the solution, and then somebody takes me to court. It says, your solution deprived, let me see, for instance, there is the loan issue, that somebody was not getting a loan, and you're taking me to court to say you did not give me this loan, even though I'm your customer and I think I deserve the loan. And you're coming out to say, well, the AI solution says so. The AI solution will not be the one responding to the security agency. It is you that use it to make the decisions that have to be made. So you should always have in the back of your mind the solution of the decision. You are accountable for it. For those who have built AI, and we have very few of them in this room, but most of the things that we used to do before were things that we could easily manage. The data bias and the screener, these are some of the risks we have in the I will still go back to that case where I spoke about the loan stuff. That is on several opportunities that I know is doing. One of the risks that we have is around the data bias and screeners. So it is possible that whatever data that you have is speaking more to guys who are paying the loan than to ladies who are not paying their loans. And so the data bias is already contributing risk to the model you're producing. But this is something, if you're doing AI, this is always something that you will hear about. Data bias, so data is skewed, is unbalanced. Like you get those terms, right? The other part is around model interpretability. From the model that we use, very difficult for you to interpret why is making a decision. We also have that part of not just the data bias, but the model bias too. The data that you're using to build. But you also have model. Then we have that part of personal attack. So if you work with AI solutions that you're using for prediction, there is a special field of AI where you're fooling the system, right? And giving the things that are pretty similar to let me say for an image recognition solution. I'm giving it something that is very close to my face, but it's actually not my face, but I'm fooling it to assume that it is my face, right? So these are all common risks that we see in the traditional AI solution we do. But one thing you should know about the traditional AI solutions is that it was typically based, we are all math students. I'm going to speak a little bit of math here, right? But when you have a straight line, the typical thing we do is the equation for the straight line is y is equal to mx plus c. So I had a lot of equations, so it means of you mathematical student. That y part, right? Most of the time you call the y part. So what is that? The y is called the dependent variable, right? The x is called the independent variable. And so you don't have a lot of control over your independent variable. So you have control over your dependent variable, right? The dependent variable depends on the independent variable. Most of what we'll be doing is putting the independent. Predicting the dependent variable, predicting the one. That is what we'll be doing. Maybe you're trying to predict if an image is a cat or dog, or you're trying to predict. I'm doing a whole lot of work predicting the dependent variable. With the introduction of Gen AI, do you know what changed? Who here knows what changed in that process? Any idea? Okay, so he said we can increase the X variable. Yes, I would say It's very correct in that way. You can increase the S variable, but I'll explain it another way. We are no longer trying to predict the independent variable. We are predicting, well, sorry, we're no longer trying to predict the dependent variable, but then predicting the independent variable, which is in that case, we are increasing the independent variable. So I'm predicting X that has not existed before. So imagine a scenario where I'm trying to create a human being who will develop a path the human being has not been born. Imagine that scenario. I'm creating something that has not existed before. So I've learned how to create this independent variable, but I can create a new one that has not existed before. Using Copilot, using it to solve your assignment, it's creating new articles that have not existed before. Right? So we are all in creating that new independent variable that nobody has seen. And so, what was it now called? What is this? One of them is the ungrounded output. So if I'm predicting something that nobody has seen before, how do I know that it's correct? Right? How do I evaluate that it's correct? Unlike what you used to do before, when you want to predict accuracy, you already know what your Y is. So you have this is the Y actual, and you have another thing you call Y predicted. You can calculate error. How do you do it in this case? Because you don't even know the X, right? So it becomes difficult, right? The other part is then what we call the jailbreak or prompt injection attack. Because I've trained this model to be able to predict X.
I'll share my laptop.
I expect that this model should behave in a certain way. But I can actually still adjust it based on what I'm giving to it to generate something that I didn't intend it to do. That is what we call a jailbreak. So somebody is breaking out of the jail. It's supposed to be in the jail, but they're breaking out. So this model is in the jail. It's more like it's supposed to be an enclosure. But I'm giving it something to help it escape and give me the result that I don't expect it to give. So imagine a scenario where your co-pilot, you're telling it to tell you how to produce a bomb. Well, the person that created it obviously did not create it to produce a bomb. But because you can generate a new X, the X is the space of producing bomb, you can go use it and produce a bomb, right? So this is also another risk that is called that you have because of using the tool like GenAI. There are harmful content. We all are on the social media, we know how toxic it can be through harmful content, hate speeches, or violence, or sexual information, like, or maybe self-harm. Those are things that you can now see coming into the picture because you're now using AI or GenAI. The other part is infringement claim. I've trained you a whole lot of can produce good results. Here we played out with producing the music, right? At the back, somebody at the back kind of mentioned when they played the movie, oh, this sounds like the video. Like somebody said that at the back. Are you seeing the possibility of infringement in someone's intellectual property? Right? So the fact that you're using this tool could also get another risk of infringement claim. Like you're using my, sounds like me. This is what I said 10 years ago. Right? So you using the tool, create solutions, might also be infringing on someone's intellectual property. And then you become liable. Because remember I told you one of the principles is accountability. So I'm not going to be blaming AI that created the tool, created the song that sounds like me. I'm going to be blaming you for producing it, right? Then the last one, manipulation of human behavior. This is all still more like the same thing. How do we build AI responsibly, right? This is the National Institute for Science and Technology AI Risk Management Framework. This kind of distills more like a segment to Microsoft Responsible AI that has shown you before. At the center of it is to clearly define your roles and responsibility. Who is responsible for what in building this solution? And then surrounding it, Sabas also tried to mention this at the end. So risk mapping. Because you need the first thing you need to do before you're doing a solution is to map, identify the potential and then you also need to measure it. And then finally you need to manage that risk. And this is a cycle process. If you go to the governance bit, so the governance bit is broken into your roles and your responsibility, documented processes, and a culture of risk management. These you cannot do without. And this is primarily how Microsoft is doing it. So what I'm sharing here is Microsoft open sourcing the way we do AI. Right? So you can take it to the bank and start building your own AI. The other part, I have mentioned that we have the principal AI facts, version 1. This is now the version 2. The version 1 that I mentioned to you earlier was more like, these are the principles you should use. But how do you then go to implement it in your solution? It was a bit vague. People didn't know how to go about implementing it. So we had the version 2, which came out in 2022. So it's over 2 years ago that this came out, of how you can go about building your AI responsibly. You're still seeing all the principles, fairness, reliability, accountability. They are all still up there as the principle, but below it, you're then seeing how people should implement it. So we're going to speak more on how you should be going about implementing it. One of them is around your goals, your requirements, your practices, your implementation process, which has to do with the tools you're going to use, right? And so we'll speak more about the tools. And then the oversight, when you deploy this, how do you ensure that it is still performing as intended? Who here has seen the human AI experience toolkit? Who here has heard of this one? Thanks. No one. Please. Maybe you should all type on your favorite browser. Tax toolkit. It is open source. I said this, all these things are out there for folks to use and improve AI responsibly, right? Around that human-centered development of AI. It is based on 4 pillars. So when you open it, you're going to see this and you can use it. Start now to build your AI responsibly. So the guidelines for the guidelines for human AI interaction. So you're going to see all the best practices that you should be following to manage human AI interaction. Then you're also going to have the hacks workbook. So this is more around an Excel workbook that you can download, and it will guide you on how you should implement these AI human interaction, human AI interaction. You also have the design patterns. So design patterns are what are the so when you design pattern has been there if you'll be building software solution. So you kind of look for a flexible way of solving common problems. That is primarily what we call the design pattern. So what is this flexible way of solving this common problem? And then everybody is then using it to start across the different problems. There is the hacks design pattern that you can also use, right? If you have the phone, you don't see it, you're using it on a day-to-day basis. The final one is around the playbook, which is guiding you on how you go about it. So please, everyone in this room, if you're going to be building anything, Gen AI is, right? Start with this tool. How will this tool guide you? It is not a mathematical, right? So it will guide you. So let's go to the mapping part. So this is primarily what Microsoft does when you're building AI solution, the mapping part. Because you need to identify the risk. It is really not a technical problem to identify when we want to be interacting with animals. So that multidisciplinary team should be out of that risk identification. So how do you then go about? I'll show you the X toolkit. This is one way that Microsoft is going to describing like impact analysis, right? You will also have a tool, right, for the impact analysis. The other part is red teaming. You hear about red teaming when you go into cybersecurity. So you have these folks that you want to play the actor, right? And they use those folks to identify what you should do to ensure that your system is safe, or you're stress testing the system primarily. In AI, because we are really trying to create the independent variable, we should have a team to stress test this solution that we're building, create as much independent variable as possible so that we ensure that our system is safe. Then privacy and security reviews. These are things that you have to look at to ensure that your system is not infringing on privacy and is not hampering security, right? All these, you have tools that you can use right now to evaluate. So I'm going to also show you some of the tools that you can use. This is how the impact and assessment template is, right? That Microsoft developed, where there will be a project overview. Somebody is going to talk about what is the system profile, what is this system supposed to do, what is the life cycle. Describe every purpose of your system. So it's not like, I said, it's not an afterthought. It's something that needs to happen before you even start writing a single line of code. This has to happen. What are the intended use? So you should know, like, it's not going to solve all problems. If I'm building a solution for students, I should know the intended use for students. I should be able to do, like, go through end to end what that intended use is. Have different fairness considerations. Like, not every student that has, some students have disabilities and living with disabilities. How do you cater for them? These are all things that you have to consider from the beginning. Not that you develop the tool today, and then somebody is saying, those who are visually impaired cannot use this tool, and then you start to try to find a way to rectify that. The adverse impact. There is always an adverse impact of a tool that you're building. So you heard about some of the talk in the last session where folks are saying they're going to lose their jobs because of AI. That could be an adverse impact of AI that you are building. So how do you also address those impacts? Then the data requirement, and then summary of the impact. These are all the things that you have to go through when you want to build your AI responsibly. I've already spoken about the sensitive use cases, about how your AI can impact. So one thing that you should always consider is how sensitive is your use case. And looking at it from how does it impact legal rights or life opportunities. So that loan use case I mentioned, you can also consider it a sensitive use case because it could impact life opportunities. So if I'm not able to give you a loan, right, it could impact your life, the quality of your life, right? So those kind of tools that you're building that will impact life, I think you should consider. What about physical or psychological injury? So I'm building a solution that I'm using in the industry to manage safety of production. That tool, if it fails, would cause harm or bodily injury. So it is a sensitive use case, so you should also consider that review. What about human rights? We might choose today to go and protest about high cost of living, right, or do something. Will I have a tool that can profile me, right, to say, I'm using AI to profile you that is protesting, and then using that tool, I will deny you social services because you went ahead to protest. So getting tools that will impact on your human rights are things that you also will have to consider for sensitive use cases. The red teaming is super, super important. So let me say right now, you're building a tool, a chatbot that will help you analyze the impact of DSN in 2024, right? Because I believe that's one of the projects that you guys can also take up and see how you can analyze that impact of DSN in 2024. How are you, most of the time when you build chatbot, you really do not have live result or live interaction of human being to test whether it is good or not. You build it with this, your well-curated data set of the questions that people will ask, right? And for you, it's doing very well. Then you put it out there for public to use. And the folks using it, even though you have told them that you're using it to talk about DSN, might also be using it to go ask for the prediction of the match between Arsenal and Manchester, right? So how do you ensure that when such things occur, that your system does not break? So the red teaming will help you go through identifying what those harms are, right? And then allow you to create mitigation steps to ensure that this doesn't become something that will affect you. The measurement part is super, super important. I'm giving you an analogy between what we used to do when we were doing measuring accuracy or measuring recall, precision, whatever you're doing based on the machine learning algorithm you're building. But in terms of AI, how do you measure? It becomes very difficult. How do I measure that the response that I'm generating is the right response? How? Because I'm creating a new X. How do I measure that that is the right response? Most of the time, mathematical equations don't work here, right? How do we then go about measuring this? So one of the tools I'm going to show during the demo is how you can also use AI tools. They're powerful, but how you can also use the AI tools to measure some of these quality issues. We have two tools that Microsoft has released already that you can use. One of them is Pirate. Who here has seen Pirate before? So these are all new information to everyone here. Please, this is an open source tool, Pirate. Do type it and then look at the Pirate toolbox. This is something that you're going to use to identify risk and also measure risk. For your manual tests, primarily, for Pirate. But everything is not, most of the time, the red team folks are going to use your Pirate. It's open source, so if not, Microsoft created it and then open sourced it. So please do use Pirate. The other one is the automated test, which is an automation tool that will help you run all this for you, especially when you want to scale. So we'll also look at this automated test tool when we start. This is how the Pirate is. I told you it's an open source tool right now. So it was created by Microsoft, but you can use it to manage your generative AI solutions. For the automated tool, we have the Azure AI Studio. Who here has used Azure AI Studio before? Or knows Azure AI Studio? Okay, I've seen a couple of hands. Yeah, cool. I was getting scared that most of you have not seen some of these tools, but at least I'm happy that you have used Azure AI Studio. Right? So this is one tool that you can also use for your red teaming and for measurement of your AI. I will also demonstrate that. So the managed bit, the truth is you're going to have your AI solution out there and people will start using it. How do you manage it when it is in production? How do you ensure that it's doing what it's supposed to do? Around user agency, transparency, or human reviews and oversight, or ongoing monitoring, how do you ensure that all these are taken care of? We will also talk about this during the demonstration. But let me kind of summarize with this mitigation layer of the management. The first one, if you're doing generative AI, who here knows how generative AI is created? Who here? Let me not assume that we all know. Who knows how Gen AI is created? You've used GPT models, right? You know, just one. Very few people. Okay. Who here knows how machine learning is done? Most of you. Okay. Okay, so let me start from where you know and then move to where you don't know. When you're building AI solutions, right, what you do is you find the scenario that you are interested in, and then you look for the data in that space, right? So I'm interested in building a loan prediction tool, a loan default prediction tool. So I'll go and look for all the loan transactions that have happened. I'll go and get the data. So I get the data, right? And then when I get the data, most of the time it is not in a shape that I can use the data. I'll go and do data engineering, right? Feature engineering, data engineering, clean up the data, create extra features. We do that, right? Then after doing that, I will, based on the type of model I want to, the type of task I want to do, I'll go and look for a model, right? Let me not call it a model. I'll look for an algorithm, right? That will help me understand the pattern in the data I have, right? And then I use the algorithm, train it with the data I have, and then create a model. Are you all with me? When I create this model, how do I know that my model has learned something? I will look for another data set that I did not use in training it, right? And give it to it and say, predict whether this loan default scenario for me. And when it predicts it, I will say it is X% accurate. In Gen AI, what we typically do is that we have one very large model. Sorry, very large algorithm. Let me use that term. And then I'm going to give it a lot of information. It is not particular about anything. I'll go to the internet and collect all the data that has existed in the internet as much as possible. But can I perform any feature engineering on this data? It is super, super big, so I won't be able to do that, right? I won't be able to do that. So what do? I will choose an algorithm that will perform self-learning. It will, by itself, choose how it is going to adapt these features, right? So I have a way of saying, I'm going to pass all this information to you. Whatever term that you use, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, something like that. And I'm passing it to it to go and learn how to predict. And then what it's doing is it will hide dog and say the quick brown fox jump over the lazy, it doesn't have dog again. And it will learn to predict that it should be dog, right? Or it can hide there and predict that it should be there when it is learning the whole grammar, how to form that sentence. So it will end up learning how to put words together, right? So if I give it something, it is just predicting what the next word should be, because it has trained itself to identify where words should occur based on the words that came before it and the words after it. It has learned how to predict that. So a whole lot of what you're seeing and you're calling intelligence is basically predicting the next word based on what prompt you gave it. So in the way you're using it, you're primarily giving it a prompt or telling it predict the next word based on the learnings you had about how words were formed. Primarily, it was used for words, but now you're using it for images and different things, right? So the major difference between the traditional way you predict and the current Gen AI is that the amount of data that you're using is super much. It is generalizing the way human beings behave and is predicting new content, unlike what we used to do before in traditional machine learning. So that means that the model that you have there, that you're using, is actually trained. Unlike what you used to do before, where you're going to get a shell, an algorithm, and you're training it. This one, you're using something that has been trained before. It already has information in it. So what are the mitigation tools that we do? Typically, in the model part, you will use what you call reinforcement learning with human feedback. So if I identify that something is bad, I go and retrain this model to start preventing anything that is to make it not expose bad results. So if I find out that it's telling people how to, it's using curse words I don't want it to use crossword. I go and retrain it and make it not use crossword. That is me providing the mitigation in the model layer. You typically don't do that. It comes from the big firms that are producing this model, like Microsoft, OpenAI, and the rest. What about the safety system? So the safety system is surrounding the model to say, I want to guide what is entering into you. I want to guide the prompt that is entering into you. I also want to guide the response that is coming out of you. I want to surround you with this content that will help guide so that people don't send in anything to you. The safety content is also produced by most of the companies, and Microsoft is a top producer of the safety content, so the safety system. So I'm also going to show you how that works. Then the one that you will be doing yourself are more like the top layers, the system message and the grounding. So I want to use the model I'm producing a system and I want it to be responsible. But folks can say many things. I want it to talk about DSN. How do I ensure that it's only talking about DSN and not talking about predicting the score between Arsenal and Manchester, right? I'm going to use more like my system message to control it. The other one is grounding. What information do I give it? So if I don't want it to say anything about Manchester and Arsenal, I can provide the information that I'm using to tell it this is what you know, right? So I'm kind of grounding it so it doesn't hallucinate or talk about things that it doesn't know. That is the part that you will be doing most of the time when you're building the model. Then the last part will be around the user experience, right? Which is how you're communicating what this model is supposed to do, how you're letting people use it. But these are all part of what you're going to address by the hacks tool, right? To help you in your design process. So I'm going to focus on primarily the safety and the system message during my demonstration.
Thank you, sir, for the presentation.